Sports Desk with my special guests, Kendall Williams to my right, Chris Perez to my left, former Lobos. And Chris, what's it like transitioning from a player to coach? And in terms of your new assistant position, what's that going to be like for you?
Well, yeah, I think the difference between a player and a coach is that I've always had kind of like a good basketball IQ, but it's always been how it affects my game. Like so now I have to manage 10 players, kind of helping out what the role is, figuring out trying to manage, especially in game, substitutions, all that, and it was tough, as a head coach to do it, as an assistant. Now I just got to make sure, the same thing. As a player, you got to play your role. You got to you got to be a superstar in your role. And I know that as an assistant, that's what I want to do. I just do what the head coach asked me to do, take initiative when I need to, and just continue to do what basically I've been learning as a player. Just to be able to understand that it takes a whole unit to get things going and get things flowing. So as a coach, I think it's got to be fun, to be able to be behind the scenes, the film sessions, the weight room sessions, and the practices, kind of planning in that. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Biggest thing you learned this year as a head coach for the C team and an assistant for the varsity at Bosque?
It was my first year getting in, just kind of seeing how it works, and being a head coach for younger guys, it was basically I had to be patient and understand that they're not going to really understand what I learned in college, so I have to kind of go back to when I was their age and what I understood, what was taught to me, and so yeah, it was definitely an experience I needed, to kind of figure out the ins and outs of what coaching is all about. Love the kids I worked with, they soaked up everything I taught them, and that's just to see that growth in them. That's what happened for me, is that I've been able to grow as a person, and that's what I want for the kids. Through the wins and losses, you got to learn something from it.
Now that you're an assistant at Volcano Vista, the kids better buy into what you learned in college, because that was defense.
Yeah,
and Greg Brown is a very defensive-minded coach.
Yeah, and that's why I think we could really get along and really emphasize what defense is really all about, because I really think it starts on that end, because I think with defense it's more consistent. You can make that more consistent than your offense, and then if your defense is consistent, it'll help take the pressure off on offense, because that if you don't score, you're going to be able to stop them. So yeah, I think having a defense-first mindset is going to really help him. We already been talking about certain presses and certain ways. I've guarded players, especially in one-on-one, how I was able to stay in front of players that were quicker than me. So yeah, it's got to be fun, kind of learning from each other.
And Kendall, what's it like playing overseas, and what's the biggest transition for you? And did you learn from guys like Daniel Ferris, who is or has been playing in Lebanon? How much of a pipeline do you have to those kind of guys? But just what's it like?
No, it's an adjustment, especially as a first year. They say a lot of rookies struggle, and I had a major learning curve about my first couple months out there, and luckily for me, I understood in that I was gonna have to take a step back. You're so competitive, and we were successful in college. We speak about that, and as a professional, it's maybe not in your hands as much as it is at a collegiate level, where you have a consistent level. We had a bunch of young guys. Same thing in the NBA or certain places when you're first becoming a professional. You're learning how to be a professional. You're learning how to deal with other professionals. Now money's involved, so those dynamics. But people like Daniel Ferris, J.R. Giddens, who have played out there and really enjoyed it, just told me to go out there. And the major thing is to first adjust to the culture. Just if you're going out there for anything, even if it's not basketball, you have to adjust to the culture. Then there's different rules, so you have to adjust to the rules. And then from there, you kind of, once you knock those two things out, then you can kind of start getting back to a comfort level where you're an athlete and you understand yourself, and go from there.
What's the contract situation like?
The contract situation for overseas, the majority of them are one-year contracts, okay. Especially for the earlier stages of the career. It's not as tied in as it is in the NBA, where the rookie contracts are 3 to 4 years. Mm-hmm. And then after that, you'll see 2-year deals, 3-year deals. Your first 5 years overseas are probably going to be year to year. So it's that's a huge difference, because guys are have their next contracts depending on that year. So then chemistry becomes an issue. So it's very interesting.
What's your status now?
My status now, well, I'm free agent status, and I'm working out, and I'm presenting myself to both leagues. I'm still a young guy, and I have both options open. Like I said, eventually some windows close, but that just opens up other doors. So right now I'm just staying very open-minded, enjoying life right now, and working hard, and seeing what the next step is for me.
And Chris, young in your coaching career, what's your biggest goal right now?
Just to, keep moving on up and keep, being teachable. In a position where I'm supposed to be a teacher of the game, I got to be teachable still and understand that, there's different ways of how to deal with things. Especially, I didn't play high school basketball here in New Mexico, but I need to still understand the culture of high school sports here. So yeah, I just got to keep learning and keep applying what I did learn.
Show's winding down here, guys, so I want to ask you both at the same time. Biggest memory at UNM? I know you have a bunch.
You're gonna end with the toughest one. I'm gonna stick to my usual answer, which is Las Vegas. I'm just gonna chop it up to the tournament. We usually won it, other than the Jimmer incident our freshman year. We won the rest of the three. So
and a couple people showed up too.
A few people always showed up. I mean, how about the fans just coming across a few states to fill out Thomas and Mack like it was the pit? It's that was always fun.
And yours?
Yeah, for me, I'll take it to my senior night, and that last basket, my last possession ever as a player. I get to remember that, and also biggest thing every time I watch it, I see Kendall run up the ramp in excitement, and that just really explained kind of our relationship was that we both love seeing each other succeed. So yeah, that's mine.
See, Darrington wasn't the other one known for running up the ramp.
Yeah.
He started it.
Well, guys, I want to thank you so much for joining me here. Best of luck in your collective careers, and have fun this week in the camp, as well as the All-Star game, if you will.
Pleasure's mine. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Scott.
Former Lobos Kendall Williams and Chris Perez. And Alden, our director, doing a great job as always. And Steve Davis will be back on the show next week. Thank you for joining us here on the Sports Desk.